When it comes to campaign planning, a lot of people love to go straight to the tactics and jump through the campaign planning process. But that's not the right way to do it. The campaign planning process begins with the letter R, and that R stands for research. Today, I want to teach you how to write a situational analysis. Now, there's no clear rubric for how to write a situational analysis, and this frustrates a lot of students who are tasked with writing one. But here are some really useful guidelines to the things you want to think about when putting a situational analysis together. Remember, the purpose of the situational analysis is ultimately to help you identify the goals and objectives for your campaign. So this is a data-driven document that you're going to provide to your client in order, again, to reach the goals and objectives based on research. Now, the main focal point of the situational analysis document is the relationship between the organization or the brand and its key stakeholders, and the focus on the internal and external variables or factors that may be impacting the relationship. So again, we are data-driven. We're focused on the relationship between our organizational brand and our stakeholders. And here we go. Step one. Before you jump ahead to anything else, think about your own organization. What are its key values? What is its mission? Why is it here? If it's a politician running for Congress, why are you running? What do you stand for? If you are a non-for-profit organization, what are your values? Why are you here? What are you trying to do in this world, right? It's really important to identify the mission of the organization and its values in order to later align those with those of your key stakeholders. This is a step that a lot of people skip over, and you'll be surprised to know how many of your clients are not really sure of what their values or mission is beyond an official mission statement. So really start over there. Step number two, assess your organization's position within its industry. Let's say, for example, that your client is AT&T, the phone company, right? The wireless company. Where do you stand in the wireless marketplace? Are you in first place? Are you in second place? Are you in third place, right? So about 10 years ago, AT&T was the #1 leading carrier in the United States, and now it fell to number 3 behind Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon, right? So whichever industry you're in, you want to know what's happening in the industry and where are you located, your organization within this industry. So for example, let's say your client is the College of Business at a university, College of Communication, where I sit, right? You can say, okay, who's my competition, right? It's another college that's competing over students with you and resources. Well, look at enrollment from the last couple of years. Has one college gained more enrollment than another? And those kind of details, that kind of data is typically available through looking at a university fact book, right? So whatever it is we're looking at, we're going to depend upon secondary research sources, right? To inform our knowledge of where we stand within our own industry. So that's really important to think of, okay? Next, identify your key stakeholders. Remember, every single organization out there, small non-for-profit or mega tech technology company, right? Like Facebook or Apple, have relationships with multiple stakeholders, both internal and external, right? So for a university, stakeholders may be parents, prospective students, current students, alumni, and so forth. Your campaign cannot target everyone, all of those. There are too many of them, and they all have their different needs, right? So identify, based again on your research, who are the key stakeholders, and really try to articulate to your client in the situational analysis who are the key stakeholders and why they're really important to focus on. Ultimately, I would recommend that you come up with 1 or 2 avatars of who this stakeholder group is and what are some key demographic/psychographic factors that are important to consider when thinking about the relationship between your organization and these stakeholders, right? So this is super duper important. All right, so what do you know about the stakeholders? What do they care about? What are their pain points? What's the most relevant thing to them right now? And is there anything happening today in today's environment that is affecting the stakeholders? If there is, your organization needs to know. So this will go into the situational analysis. All right. Next step is to look inside your organization. What is happening internally within your organization, right? Maybe you have new technology, new product, new management. Have you lost resources or gained resources? Anything like that that's internal to your organization, that is going to be important when thinking about your relationship with your stakeholders. And then, of course, you have things that are happening outside of your organization. So for the last couple of years, every single organization around the world has been affected by the COVID crisis, right? And then later on, supply chain issues, new technologies such as video conferencing that has changed how we work and how we conduct work. So internal factors shaping the organization and its relationship with the stakeholders, external ones. Right, here comes the final step. The final step, or almost the final step, is putting together a SWOT analysis. Now, ladies and gentlemen, repeat after me, please. A SWOT analysis is not the same as a situational analysis. Let's say it again. SWOT analysis is not the same as a situational analysis, but rather a SWOT analysis is a visual depiction of the key findings from the situational analysis, right? So remember, we have strengths and weaknesses, which are things that are internal to our organization. We have control over them. Then we have opportunities and threats. These are things that are external to the organization. A key mistake that most people make is treating opportunities as things that an organization could do in the future, or like such as a tactic to better engage their key stakeholders. But that's not what opportunities stand for in SWOT analysis. Rather, we're asking what is currently happening in the current situation that may impact the organization and its relationship with its stakeholders, again, externally, right? So opportunities are good things that may benefit this relationship, and threats or external things that are negative. So please don't make the common mistake of treating a SWOT as if it's the same thing as situational analysis. And remember, opportunities are not things we can do, but rather external variables that are currently shaping the relationship between the organization and its key stakeholders. Most people, and this is the right thing to do, will put together kind of a quad rubric, right? A quad, it says here are the strengths, here are weaknesses with 4 bullet points. The problem is that the client, when they see that, they can't really tell why. Why did you list items 1, 2, 3, and 4 as weaknesses or threats? This is why under the SWOT analysis, under the visual, I recommend typically inserting 2-3 lines for each item with an explanation so the audience, your client, can make sense of it. Finally, I want you to end the situational analysis with a conclusion. The conclusion should take everything you put together and draw some insights. These are data-driven insights, again, based on a situational analysis that will help the client understand what you learned in the situational analysis in regards to the relationship between the organization's key stakeholders. And ultimately, these insights should allow us as the PR advertising professionals to come up with the goals and objectives for our campaign. So again, remember, this is a data-driven document. Make sure to cite all of your sources. You can use secondary or primary research or a combination of these all together. And remember, there's no clear rubric for how to write situational analysis. It's not like, every industry, every client, every stakeholder will require a little bit of a different mix. But these are some of the key considerations, and I hope that this video was useful to you. If you have any ideas or any thoughts or any suggestions, please drop them in the comments, and I would love to hear from you. Have a fantastic day.